Hello everyone and welcome to the Narcan Network. I'm Dean, the host of the Narcan Network channel, and today I'm going to present to you episode 279. And in episode 279 we're going to talk a little bit about a thing known as Stockholm Syndrome. So we're going to talk about Stockholm Syndrome in narcissistic victims. Now, some of you out there who are older will probably remember that in 1972 the Olympics took place in Munich, Germany, and during the Olympics, a terrorist organization took over the, I believe it is the athletes' village, and they took a whole bunch of hostages captive, basically. And these hostages were kept captive for some period of time. I can't tell you the exact period of time, but I think it was a number of weeks that they were held hostage. And their captors during that time would talk to them, and it started to happen that some of the people or some of the victims that were being held captive started to actually sympathize with their captors. And this is what's known as Stockholm Syndrome. So some of the people who were being held hostage started to become sympathetic to the terrorists who were holding them captive. And they started to sympathize with whatever those terrorist demands are, whatever their ideas were. This is what we now know in psychology as Stockholm Syndrome. And strangely enough, this is something I seem to see quite a bit in narcissistic victims. I've had some experiences with narcissistic victims off my network who seem to exhibit elements of Stockholm Syndrome with their narcissists. I have examples of this in cyberspace that we see with narcissistic victims almost going along with the ideas of their narcissist or whatever. And this really, really intrigues me. Now, for myself, I don't know if I ever suffered from Stockholm Syndrome, because in the examples for myself, when I became aware that I was dealing with a possible narcissist in my life, one of the things that I did was I took some time to observe them, and also to keep evidence of what my narcissists were doing with me, so I would have that type of evidence. And it's true that during these periods of time I was involved with my narcissist for some extended period of time. It might have been actually an ongoing time of, well, in one example of my narcissists, in the example of the person I was involved with romantically from 2011 to 2016, I was aware that that person had been seeing other people behind my back. I subsequently broke up with them after a period of time, and then we got back together after having a large talk about the factor that whatever was going on, and this person basically said to me they would stop their behavior or whatever. And of course they don't stop, and of course they continued on after that period of time. But during that time I was aware, so I can't really say that I was sympathetic or tolerating their infidelity with whatever was going on. In a way I particularly was, but what I was doing while that was going on is I was also gathering evidence in case I needed evidence for any nature later on that may come along, that I may have to deal with any craziness from this person or whatever. So when this person did finally disengage with me in late 2016, I knew that that was going to come at some particular point. I was basically just waiting for it to occur and seeing what the heck was going to happen. Of course, there's the factor of, should I have disengaged with this person at that particular point? I probably should have, but I was biding my time to figure out what to do with myself, and it just so happens that that person approached me with a dialogue of breaking up before I approached them with that possibility going on. So they got to me before I got to them, and of course we separated at that particular time. So I wasn't really being what you would consider to be, or I wasn't really engulfed in what you would consider to be Stockholm Syndrome at that point. I was fully aware of what was going on. I was not sympathetic to what was going on at all. I can tell you that wholeheartedly. But at that particular time where we were together in that last period of time, I would say the last 2 years that we were together, we had really no love life really going on at all in that instance. So I wasn't so worried about that, engaging in that so much. I was just more on a fact-finding mission with this person to try to make sure that I got as much evidence as I needed in case I ever needed any of the evidence at the end of whatever was over with them at that particular point. Because I was basically in a mode where I was like trying to be a good person and stay with them for the reasons that I have engaged with them at that particular time. But at the same time, I was also trying to figure out how do I safely extricate myself from this with the evidence that I require to make sure that this person doesn't try to pull anything strange with me after I'm not involved with them anymore. So, for myself, I wasn't really engaged in what you would consider to be Stockholm Syndrome or that particular behavior. I wasn't sympathetic to anything that they were doing with me or to their causes of whatever dubious things they were carrying out in their lives that they thought I wasn't aware of, but I was. But in the instance of people who have narcissists in their lives, I have had experiences on the network with people who have almost become sympathetic to what the narcissist is doing with them, to a point where they almost are like, they don't seem to care so much that the narcissist is fucked with them or whatever, or that shit has gone on, and the narcissist is, you know, had infidelity with them and anything of this nature. They're almost sympathetic to this. And in some instances where it's not a romantic engagement with somebody, I've seen some people, you know, who have been engaging with their parents or whatever, who have been narcissists and caused them to have some traumatic trauma in their lives at that particular point, also being sympathetic to those things that go on. And I can't quite exactly understand this. Maybe it's just me. But when a person fucks with you and does crazy, evil things and bad things against you like that, why would you want to continue engaging with that person? You know, that truly is an example of Stockholm Syndrome where, you know, I understand that in some instances this may be, like, for instance, I've got a few people off the Narc network who, the people who are the narcissists are their parents. And they're trying to, like, you know, they're trying to deal with this person who's a parent. And that parent is a hardcore narcissist with them and they're doing shit. But, you know, if your parent is a hardcore narcissist, it doesn't matter if they're your blood or not. Get the fuck away from them. Get out of, don't be dealing with it. Cut them out of your life completely. You don't need that shit in your life. You just don't need that shit in your life. Yet I see people continuing to deal with that, and in some cases, almost defending the people who are being narcissists against them. Because they're family or whatever. If this is your family and they're being a narcissist against you, that's not what family does. Families don't behave that way with people in this way. They don't put narcissism onto people and mess with them and screw them up in these ways. That's not what family is. If you think that that's your family, you have an obscured fucking idea of what family is. And this doesn't matter if this is if this is you and this is one of your parents. It doesn't matter if this is you and one of your kids. If one of your kids has suddenly got narcissism, fucking straighten that kid out. Straighten that kid fucking up. Because fucking that kid is gonna fucking fuck with people in this world, and either bad shit is gonna come to them or they're gonna get fucking some freaking bad karma in the end in their life. And you don't need to tolerate that, and you need to either straighten that kid the heck out like this, like I would straighten my own kids out in this particular instance. Absolutely, and I would adamantly fucking back that up for anybody to do that. Or disengage with that fucking child until they learn their fucking lesson and they learn not to do that shit. Or if they're younger and under 18 years of age and they're doing shit like this, get them some psychological or mental help to deal with this so that they don't continue to propagate this and thinking that it's okay. Especially if you are not the narcissist that has created this particular instance. Get them some assistance, because to me, it seems that I see a lot of Stockholm syndrome in different instances, and it amazes me that people will allow this to continue to propagate onwards, and to tolerate the narcissist, to continue let the narcissist do these things upon this person. People who behave like this and don't defend themselves and don't stand up. In this instance, I don't quite understand that. I see people off of the Narcan network whose husbands and or wives are cheating on them and doing all kinds of stuff and doing narcissistic crap to these people, treating some males almost like they're cuckolds in this instance. And these are not individuals who are interested in being cuckolds in relationships. They're just being shit on by their significant others in negative ways. And I wish I could teach these people. My goal is to teach these people on the network to stand up for themselves and to not tolerate that nonsense, because this is absolutely ridiculous, and this is just something that I see in abundance. I almost see Stockholm syndrome in abundance sometimes with some narcissistic victims out there who will continue to tolerate their narcissists being like this with them, and then make excuses as to why it's okay for their narcissist to be like that. It's really, really sad if you think about it in the end. And anyway, this is just what I wanted to talk to you guys about in episode 279. This came to my attention a couple of weeks ago, and I decided I'd do a video on this. So this has been episode 279. Again, I'm going to say please stay tuned. I got lots of content coming up on the Narcan Network, and some stuff coming up on the Unmasking the Narcissist channel as well too here. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you soon in some new videos.